Have you ever noticed how people enter your life with excitement, promises, and warmth, only to disappear when you least expect it? Life is full of comings and goings, friends, colleagues, acquaintances. But what if I told you that the key to lasting peace and fulfillment does not lie in holding on to others, but in focusing on yourself? Today, we are going to solve a very human problem, the pain of losing people, the constant fear of being abandoned, and the feeling that your happiness depends on someone else. By the end of this conversation, you'll discover why turning your attention inward is not just wise. It is essential for a life of clarity, confidence, and calm. One of the most difficult lessons in life is understanding that people come and go. We are often conditioned to believe that relationships should last forever, that loyalty and presence are permanent. Yet, life teaches us otherwise. People change, circumstances change, and sometimes even those we love most are not meant to stay forever. The moment you accept this truth, you gain freedom, the freedom to live fully without the constant anxiety of loss. Think about the friends you've had over the years. Some are still close, some have drifted, and some are no longer part of your journey at all. This is natural. People come into your life to teach, to support, or to share a chapter with you. When you cling too tightly to someone who has naturally moved on, you are holding back your own growth. Focusing on yourself does not mean you stop caring for others. It means that your emotional well-being is not dependent on the presence or approval of any single person. Understanding impermanence also allows you to cherish relationships while they last. You begin to appreciate moments without fear of losing them because you know that the temporary nature of life is what makes it beautiful. When you internalize this, you are no longer shaken when someone leaves. Your sense of identity, peace, and purpose become rooted not in who stays, but in who you are. The pain of losing someone is inevitable, but suffering becomes optional. The suffering often comes when we tie our happiness to someone else's presence or approval. When you focus on yourself, you cultivate an inner world so rich and grounded that the comings and goings of people do not define your emotional state. Your heart remains steady, your mind remains clear, and your energy remains your own. This realization also changes how you engage with others. You start giving love and attention freely, without expectations or the fear of loss. You recognize that people are with you, not out of obligation, but because of genuine connection. And when someone leaves, you don't feel betrayed or incomplete. Instead, you see it as a natural part of life's rhythm. By understanding the impermanence of relationships, you learn to anchor your life in something more reliable, your own growth, purpose, and inner peace. You begin to see that the only constant in life is yourself, and investing in that foundation becomes the most valuable choice you can make. One of the biggest mistakes we make is seeking approval from others as if it defines our worth. We often sacrifice our time, energy, and even dreams to gain acceptance, thinking that being liked or acknowledged is the key to happiness. But the truth is, people's opinions are fleeting, and approval is never guaranteed. When you focus on yourself, you shift from chasing validation to investing in your own growth. And that is a game changer. Think about how much energy is wasted trying to please people who may never appreciate you. The effort is exhausting. And yet we do it because we forget one simple truth. No one can give you the sense of fulfillment that comes from within. Growth, skill, and self-respect are earned internally, not granted externally. When you put your attention on developing your self-learning, reflecting, and strengthening your character, you become someone who does not depend on the approval of others to feel worthy. Prioritizing growth also requires courage. It means saying no to activities, conversations, and even relationships that drain your energy or distract you from your purpose. It may feel uncomfortable at first because you are challenging old patterns of people-pleasing, but over time, this discomfort transforms into liberation. You begin to experience life as it is meant to be, intentional, focused, and fulfilling. When your life is centered on growth rather than approval, your relationships transform as well. You no longer seek people to complete you. Instead, You attract those who genuinely resonate with the values, energy, and purpose you embody. Connections become authentic, not transactional. You start engaging with people from a place of abundance rather than neediness. And this not only strengthens bonds but also protects you from unnecessary disappointment when someone leaves. Focusing on growth also changes your relationship with failure and criticism. When your worth is self-defined, setbacks are no longer devastating, and judgment from others becomes information rather than a verdict. You begin to experiment, take risks, and pursue your dreams with a confidence that is independent of external circumstances. Your life stops revolving around what others think and starts revolving around what truly matters to you. Ultimately, prioritizing your growth over approval is about reclaiming your time, energy, and attention. It is about recognizing that the most valuable investment you can make is in yourself. Every moment spent learning, reflecting, and improving compounds into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient you. When people come and go, you remain anchored in the foundation of your own growth. And that is something no one can take away. Focusing on yourself is not just about personal growth or achieving goals. It is also about cultivating inner strength and learning to rely on yourself. Life is unpredictable and people will come and go. If your happiness, confidence, or peace depends on someone else, you are handing them control over your life. Self-reliance is the antidote to this uncertainty. It is the understanding that while others can support and inspire you, well-being ultimately depends on the strength you nurture within yourself. Inner strength is built quietly, in moments when no one is watching. It grows through challenges, failures, and the conscious choice to persevere despite setbacks. When you focus on yourself, you develop resilience, the ability to face life's ups and downs with a steady mind and an unshakable heart. You begin to realize that discomfort, criticism, and change are not threats. They are opportunities to strengthen your character and sharpen your perspective. Self-reliance also requires emotional independence. It is learning to process your feelings without needing constant reassurance from others. When a friend drifts away, a colleague disappoints you, or a relationship ends, you do not crumble. You acknowledge the emotions, reflect on the experience, and move forward with clarity. This is not cold detachment, it is empowered presence. By depending on your inner resources, you free yourself from the constant anxiety of approval or attachment. Another aspect of self-reliance is the ability to make decisions confidently. When you are grounded in your values, priorities, and purpose, you no longer waver based on external opinion. Decisions are made from a place of clarity rather than fear, and even if outcomes are not perfect, you trust your capacity to adapt and grow. This independence fosters courage to pursue dreams, to speak your truth, and to embrace life on your own terms. Cultivating inner strength also transforms your relationships. When you are self-reliant, you do not seek others to fill gaps in your life. You approach connections as companions, not lifelines. This mindset allows relationships to be healthier, more balanced, and mutually enriching. You give love freely, but you do not cling or depend, and that freedom reduces suffering and deepens the quality of every interaction. Finally, self-reliance teaches gratitude for the constant companion that is always with you. When people leave, you are not empty. When circumstances challenge you, you are not defeated. You have built an internal anchor strong enough to weather life's storms. Focusing on yourself, cultivating inner strength, and becoming self-reliant does not make life easier, but it makes you unshakable. You begin to understand that happiness, peace, and fulfillment are not found in others. They are cultivated within, in the moments when you choose. To invest in yourself, focusing on yourself means building a life that is anchored in purpose rather than in the presence or approval of others. People will come and go, but the impact of a life lived with clarity, intention, and meaning lasts far beyond fleeting relationships. When you anchor your life in purpose, you create a foundation that is steady, resilient, and fulfilling regardless of who stays and who leaves. Purpose gives direction to your actions and decisions. Without it, life can feel like a series of reactions to circumstances and expectations. But when you know what matters most to you, every choice becomes intentional. You begin to prioritize your time, energy, and attention on things that contribute to your growth, your happiness, and your long-term vision. People may still leave, but your path remains clear, and your peace remains intact. Anchoring your life in purpose also shifts your relationship with attachment. When your sense of fulfillment comes from your goals, values, and contribution, you are no longer dependent on others to feel complete. You engage in relationships freely and wholeheartedly, not because you need them to validate you, but because you genuinely enjoy sharing your journey. This shift transforms love, friendship, and connection into something empowering rather than consuming. A life anchored in purpose also brings resilience during challenges. When people leave, circumstances change, or disappointments occur, you do not feel lost. You return to your purpose, which acts as a compass guiding you through uncertainty. Challenges become opportunities to learn, grow, and strengthen your resolve. Even in solitude, you feel a sense of fulfillment because your life has meaning independent of external factors. Purpose fuels discipline and consistency. When you are focused on meaningful goals, distractions lose their power. You stop chasing validation, reacting to every opinion, and worrying about who stays or leaves. Your energy is invested in creating, growing, and contributing, which naturally attracts people who align with your vision, while allowing those who do not to drift away without affecting your peace. Finally, creating a life anchored in purpose encourages reflection and self-awareness. You constantly evaluate whether your actions align with your values and whether your relationships and commitments serve your journey. This awareness keeps you grounded, prevents unnecessary suffering, and reinforces the habit of focusing on yourself. You begin to understand that people may be temporary, but the growth, fulfillment, and impact you cultivate are enduring. When you anchor your life in purpose rather than people, you liberate yourself from the constant fear of loss and dependency. You invest in what truly matters, allowing relationships to enrich your life without defining it. You become a person whose peace, happiness, and fulfillment are self-generated, resilient, and unwavering. And in that space, you discover the true power of focusing on yourself. As we reflect on today's message, remember this: people will come and go in your life, and that is a natural part of the journey. But the one constant you have is yourself. When you focus on your growth, your purpose, and your inner strength, you create a life that no departure or change can shake. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. It allows you to love more freely, act more intentionally, and live more peacefully. Today, make a promise to yourself to invest in your dreams, nurture your spirit, and anchor your life in meaning rather than in the presence or approval of others. When you do that, you discover a freedom, resilience, and happiness that no one can take away.